Good morning, and today is Wednesday, January the 28th, 2026. It is about 9:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah, the Elohim of the Old and New and Third Testament and beyond. But considering we are in this 10,000 year chapter, this is where we're going to stay. So, a couple of home side, right? The personalization. So me and the fam last night, we had kind of not like a Thanksgiving with people, but we had like turkey and stuffing. We had some green beans, corn. It was nice. It was just kind of an all-around good meal. And as me and the goddess, queen consort, were just talking about, we are trying to, become more healthy in our decisions for eating and really just to feel better. There's nothing more disheartening than trying to trudge through a theme park in the middle of August in Florida and being unhealthy. Not even necessarily overweight, like big time, but just unhealthy. You can start to feel the kind of the junk food catching up with you, right? When you're under duress. And that is really what being fit is all about. It's not so much about weight, because some people, they're naturally larger, especially folks from the true north, right? Vikings. They are historically, their autonomy is larger, they're taller, they're just bigger people. That's okay. Everyone has a healthy spot, and everyone has a healthy blood pressure. So it really is difficult for science and medical doctors to try to put a definitive label and comfort point. So really it is truly up to yourself individually. And to what extent do you want to be healthy? Some people would, look at the sweets and, the activity of eating more important than being able to walk a theme park without without being short of breath. I, on the other hand, my Asherah, we want to be able to, travel and do all kinds of things, and we want to do it healthy. We want to do it comfortable. We want to, get out of Florida and see the country, and hopefully one day see the world. That would be really fun for us both. So, point is, we need to trim the fat, right? Get rid of the useless things, not only physically, but emotionally, right? And these are things that even I as Elohim deal with, right? I have to unpack emotional baggage from, my human experience. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary, right? Because you can never move forward as long as you're holding on to old stuff. And that's the thing, right? If you're a human being, if you are living the human experience, then these are all recommendations for you to do. So you want to make sure that you are self-aware. That's really where it starts. Because a lot of times folks are very unaware, right? They are a habitual existence, meaning they're not living on purpose. They're not living with thought. They're not living with purpose in any way. So a lot of times when we see that, what is the symptoms, right? They're unhealthy, they're overweight, they're zombieified, right? Mainstream media says go do this, they do that. This brand of something comes out, they go do that. This phone, they are the world, right? They are the people that you see, the masses, right? The droves. Well, the thing is, they don't have to be that way. And the good thing is if they were not that way, they would be an individual contributor. They would be able to analyze people, places, and things with a high mind. And, just for an example, the technology companies love pumping out new junk, right? Here is fire perpetuating fire. So me and Asher, all right, we played Nintendo. Originally, it was like the Super Nintendo and the old school Donkey Kong, right? The 1993 or 94. And then, of course, Nintendo comes out with Nintendo 64. And then it comes out with the Nintendo Cube, or then the Switch, or then the Wii, then the Switch, right? So they're constantly coming out with better upgrades. I would go as far as to say with Nintendo, each time they've unveiled a new system, it actually has been different. It has been better. The graphics, the latency, the speed of the games, the different types of games, right? So there's an actual purpose that fuels that. I can see that, right? So her and I, we kind of upgraded to the Switch for home. And Cam Man has a Switch Lite, so we get to interchange games. That's dual purpose. Now, how this relates to all things is it's a pattern, it's a way of thinking, right? So a lot of things that I'm teaching, they're high level, they're macro, meaning you got to understand kind of the pieces that are moving to be able to understand the whole concept. It's like a mosaic. Well, let's say PlayStation is a direct contender with Nintendo, but unfortunately, since about the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4 was a forced bring out because they wanted to raise the price of the console, and then they wanted to raise the price of the games, and they wanted to raise the price of all the accessories. This is money driven. And true gamers are getting priced out of the PlayStation. I call it the PlayStation Mafia. I just kind of dubbed that right now, but that's what it feels like. And then as soon as the PlayStation 4 price comes down to the normal working class family's price range, now the games are cut off, and now we're at PlayStation 5. And people, hard-working American people that, buy game systems for themselves, adults play video games. I mean, we're in a generation of kids that grew up in the 80s and the 90s, which is why I have the 80s synthwave on today. It's Revenge of the Sith 80s epic sci-fi. So, I don't know about the Revenge of the Sith part, but it's got cool like Luke Skywalker vibes and the Back to the Future car. It's kind of neat. Point I'm making is, see, Nintendo, right, their R&D, their research and development teams said, okay, well, we have a product. How do we make it better for our people? And how do we keep our prices moderate enough so our consumers can access the accessories, the games, and the varieties? Whereas PlayStation is kind of putting on the villain cloak now in my eyes, and they're saying, we've got people hooked on Call of Duty, we got people hooked on whatever. I don't know what else is played on PlayStation, but I'm saying they have people hooked by a franchise, and now those people are like committed, right? They're like the hook in the jaw. They're gonna buy anything and everything that PlayStation has. I mean, it's sad. Right, and I love my brother, like, obviously, but my brother is one of those hooked to the PlayStation Mafia, right? He doesn't have, bless his soul, he doesn't have a pot to piss in, but yet he'll have the newest PlayStation and 10 controllers. Like, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That to me is like, dang, like, you're getting manhandled by the game people, the game gang. So. The point is, the one side is modifying with purpose, while the other side is essentially zombieing it, right, just for money's sake, because there's really no changes from PS3 to PS4 to PS5 to what will be PS6. Like, now we're talking an $800 to $1,000 console system. Like, now game systems are surpassing the price tag of, like, full-on computers. There's a very fundamental difference here. And if that's what I mean, right? But they only do that because of their base, right? So where do you make the change? One person can't go knock on PlayStation's door and say, you guys need to cut the crap. Like, the normal people who just want to enjoy games and have variety, like, you're shutting them out, and you're catering to essentially the top 10% of gamers. You're leaving out the masses, and then you're charging. So what I mean is, they're bridging the gap between, like, let's say Nintendo is, let's say the system's $300 for Nintendo, 2 games, 2 controllers, basically you're out the door for like $450. Nintendo, for a console, 2 controllers, and 2 games, you'd be at like $1,400. And instead of catering to the common people, they're catering to essentially special interest, and they're just upping the the price of things to account for what they are missing from the masses. I don't like that. Because that is also the type of mentality. Catering to special interest is deadly dangerous, because I'm transitioning this into now politics. This is why this is important. Because if you have the loony left who is willing to sacrifice the common man and woman for, well, we have Minnesota, which is, we can count on 310,000 illegal immigrants, Somalians, Mexicans, Venezuelans, Argentinians. It doesn't matter, because race is not the problem. Undocumented illegal aliens that have broke the law coming into America, so therefore they are all gonna be rounded up because they broke the law. It doesn't matter if there is an Englishman or woman who is here illegally, then they are going to be arrested equal to someone who's from France, someone who's from Israel. I don't give a crap. The point is, the commonality is they are illegal. By the loony left spinning the narrative, catering to illegals, and trying to paint a false picture that, oh, white Christians just hate Mexicans. That's false. There are fine Mexicans all throughout Christianity. There are fine every people throughout Christianity. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with the behavior. That's the point. It has everything to do with the behavior. And at its very simplistic way, Donald J. Trump was elected president of the United States of America by the majority. That means that if you were to look at this like silly CNN, 4 out of 5 Americans prefer Donald J. Trump versus, Joe Biden. That means that they voted for PT because of the things that he promised he was going to do, and he is fulfilling those promises. It doesn't have to look good, because it isn't a good situation. I would love for ICE not to exist anyway, but for ICE not to exist, we need no illegal aliens. So my answer to Waltz and Frey and all you other crazies, you're going to get your wish one day. But also, so am I. Because I want you people out of the government. You are wolves in sheep's clothing. You do not have the best interest for the Constitution of the United States of America. You do not have the best interest of the people of America who voted for this. Because every time you are siding with special interest, every time you are siding with illegal aliens, you forgive my language, you are shitting on America and its people every time. And just because your small little 5 and 10% groups are giving you placebo energy, that's what I mean. They're hooping and hollering because that's your base, right? To a small, rich type of crowd, so you're losing me. You're losing us. That's what's happening and has happened since Barack Hussein Obama was elected. Believe it or not, folks. Because before Barack Hussein Obama, you had George W. Bush, who I'm not a Bush fan. I'm not really a president fan. I think the only real president I actually liked was George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and I think that's probably about it. My point that I'm making is, right, if you are elected officials, your oath is to your country. That means that you are representing not a minority. You're representing the United States of America. Because guess who represents minorities? Ali Khamenei, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas. They are special interest groups that the world has catered to and that governments have catered to. So when we're making points, when I am making points about how dictators happen, that's what I mean. It's so interesting because the rioters are calling fascism, dictators, and no kings. Meanwhile, a dictator directs his minions to carry out acts of violence against opposing people. That's what riots are doing right now against law officers. Law officers that are trying to remove criminal illegal aliens from America. I don't think there's anything more American than that. And quite literally, again, it doesn't look good, right? If you're a plumber and you go to a house call that their septic tank busts, it ain't gonna look pretty. But guess what? It needs to be done. Right? It needs to be done. Because the only way to get everything cleaned back up is you gotta remove, in this case, forgive my language again, but you gotta remove the shit to get it cleaned up. This is again, whenever I see Tim Walz, I literally see an Ali Khamenei. I see a Nicolas Maduro. I see, Assad. Directly. Like, there's no difference to me. That's what I mean. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with, and I hate to say this, because again, I know there are some moderate Democrats that probably disagree mostly with their party, but they're just Democrats because maybe that's what great-granddaddy did, blah, 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 blah. That's the person I would encourage you to wake up. Stop choosing a party. Stop choosing left or right. Choose America. Choose America. Piss on all of them. America is you should be loyal to America, because what does that mean? America isn't a dictatorship. It isn't a kingship. America is a republic. That means that the people own America. So when you are loyal to America, you're saying, I'm standing by my brothers and my sisters. I'm standing by my neighbors. I'm standing by those people, all people who are making America great. Because what are they doing that's making America great? Let's say someone, immigrates legally to this country. They're opening up a business. They're having a family. They're contributing to the prosperity of America in all types of ways. They're going to ball games with their kids. They're shopping at Walmart. They're buying new cars. They're building homes. They're building businesses. They're attending town halls. They're going to church. They're attending, normal things. Rioting for illegal aliens to stay in America is not American. That is a directive that is being followed by dictators. And in this case, America has a problem with dictators, and I'll tell you who isn't one. PT isn't a dictator. He is responding to the ear of the people, or to the wants of the people. That's what happened. And if we were to look at it in a realistic way, if we have 100 million people and 80 million of them voted yes for something, but then only the 20 million are the ones who are on TV, who have speaking points. I don't have social media, but they're all over that, I'm sure. And you have just the 20 million people that are hooping and hollering. They're giving an illusion. This is what Democrats are infamously known for. Illusion. If you go back to the rallies, and I know Trump says this to the point of nauseating, but I will take one from his playbook because he is right. If you look at camera angles, and if you were to go to a Kamala Harris or a Biden or watch it on TV, they're actually focused in quite a bit, right, to give the illusion that it's full. They turn up the background volume to actually make it sound like there's more chatter. Meanwhile, if you zoom out, right, it's movie magic. America's famous for Hollywood movie magic. It's no different than in politics, people. They zoom out and you're like, oh damn, there's like 100 people there. That's kind of goofy, right? And then you do go to a Trump rally and you look at the whole thing and you're like, wow, that's a legit 30,000 stadium full. That's my point. That is why the Democrats lost, even when this last election was still tampered with. That's how big the numbers, it was literally like 4 out of 5 Americans, not illegals, Americans, voted right. Voted red, I mean. And even with the handicap that the elections have always had, because Democrats rely on dead votes, which again, if you are ever one dead vote, should be a 50-year maximum security prison sentence in Rikers Island. You should have a special place on Rikers just for you. You should actually go and walk through death row and let those inmates spit on you. You should have a walk of shame because you are shaming America. You are shaming the dead men and women since the Revolutionary War, since 1771. People that have lost their lives and came to see me. You are shitting on their graves on behalf of law-breaking illegal aliens. I don't care what it looks like. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, because I hate to break it to you. Feelings have caused a lot of problems on this earth, and they've caused a lot of problems in human society. Because, and this is what we know about, right, people, mass amounts of people, or what we call sheeple. If one person goes, man, I don't like it, don't make me feel good, then guess what you start hearing radio, man, and it's like, okay, what is everybody baying about? We don't know, we just know that someone don't feel right. That's your Democratic Party, right? That's the Democratic Party. They're sleepwalking into unjust dictator type of behavior. And then the permissive, like, that's what I mean, permitting, telling illegals or citizens to go and disobey the law. That's strike one. As an elected official, that means you are an elected official representing the United States of America. You should be in handcuffs, because therefore you are actually a traitor to the people. You are a Benedict Arnold to the American people. And again, I will say the names in case we're forgetting. That is Frey. That is Waltz. That is Newsom. That is Kamala. That is Omar. That is Orcott, whatever your name is. Ortiz, the little bartender lady. And again, all of you little fat cats were real skinny cats before you got into politics. And you talk about special interest. You are literally trying to make sure that you can continue to reap millions of dollars off of them. You're ripping Americans off. You are ripping us off. And not only are you embezzling it yourself, you're mismanaging federal funds. If, let's say, it took $2 billion a year to fund an entire state's Medicaid and SNAP program, $2 billion. But yet we're seeing $20 billion. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you're telling me that one state is using the amount of resources that 10 states need. Instead of being able to fund 10 states for those needs, we're focusing that on one state because it has a swollen population of illegal immigrants. And that, you get what I mean? And then these mayors and governors, and this is where the dictator thing comes in. They go, this is my city. This isn't, you don't own shit. This is America's city. Minneapolis belongs to the United States of America. Okay? When the Louisiana Purchase happened back in the 1800s, it didn't go to it didn't go to the president. The president go, this is now my land. This is land for America. Minneapolis is not Jacob Frey's. It isn't Tim Waltz. None of these Democratic hellholes belong to these sniveling little traitors in America. In fact, they need to be arrested and a re-election needs to happen. Because America is vulnerable right now, not militarily speaking. We are stronger than we've ever been. But if this continues, if we continue to allow elected officials being wolves in sheep's clothing, leading people astray, right? George W. Bush was calling Islamic Jihad terror to its face, went to the Middle East, boots on the ground, to take care of the damn issue. I know. And then guess what? Obama comes into the picture, and what do we hear? We can't even say Islamic terrorism. You're not allowed to say that. That is insanity. I will take my little 5 here and then come back, and then we are going to jump into Demoncrat dictators and the Jihad movement. Stay tuned. And we are back. So, had a good, quick talk with Asherah, and she made a great point. You know, if the Democrats weren't stealing America's money, we would actually be able to fund so many more programs that actually need it, and then the money go to where it needs to be. For the likes of me, I can't understand how these little weasels like Frey and Waltz, and there's so many more. I mean, these are just the hot buttons today, but it's amazing how they can pop their little weasel faces out from the podium without being arrested. Because let me tell you something. In the normal world called American life, if somebody is caught embezzling, which is what Democrats do, buying votes, which is illegal, catering to illegal immigrants, which is illegal, defending lawbreakers and preventing federal law enforcement, again, they think their state is somehow their own country. They're like Ali Khamenei sitting on their little throne that I, as God, am about to kick out from under them hard. I want to see you fall, and I want you all walking a walk of shame, because it was not until Barack Hussein Obama that we had Muslims now in government. This is a Christian nation, not a Muslim nation, number one. Number two, the entire Sharia law, the entire basis of Islamic Jihad is quite literally what they pray, 10 times a day about. Destroying the Western world and its allies. And that means jihad murder. And their Bible, it says that they get 72 virgins in heaven if they kill an American or a Jew. And literally, these people have been elected into office. Do you see how something has went majorly wrong here? Something has went majorly wrong here. And then it's like, okay, fine. If you say, Yahweh, we're open to any religious person being in office, okay, fine. Then let me see their actions. Are they righteous? Well, if they're stealing, no. If they're falsifying votes, no. If they're protecting illegal immigrants, no. If they're trying to literally alter the children of God, me. They are teaching young children who are very impressionable, very malleable, and they're convincing them that, oh, well, honey, you're probably just gay. And it's like, no, he's probably just 4, you idiot. Like, guess what? Kids are going to be kids. You know? I mean, Cameron is 9, but when he was in his younger days, I mean, it never happened. But I'm saying, I'm sure if Mackenzie had a tutu laying around, I'm sure he would not hesitate to pick it up and go around the house on a tutu. That has no inclination that he's gay. No, because that stuff happens through nurture. That happens through encouragement. And a lot of times you can see the mental illness truly in the liberal left when they are trying to get more and more supporters to justify their sin, to justify their ungodliness, to justify their demonic ambition. And now we have let righteousness go so far askew, so far array, that now they are literally running states as if they were the dictator of this country. And they think that their 10 to 15% minority is like that's the tone of America. That is not the tone of America. Because the tone of America still fought through the handicapped elections and still got the job done. And we're going to still get the job done. Folks, ICE ain't going anywhere until there is not one illegal alien in this country. So, this is a warning / prophecy / promise. I will put the full force of heaven, my angels, and even the demons that I control. I'm the Lord of Hosts. I control angels and demons. I will ensure. And let me just clarify. When I say demons, I mean created beings that I, as God, created to essentially have no limitations of righteousness to carry out my will. These are all spirits, by the way. When we're talking about incarnate demons who are not under my control, that's called jihad. That's called satanic worship death cult, which barbarianism should have been extinguished more than 2,000 years ago. When I, as Yahweh, descended upon Hosea, who was Yehoshua, who was the first Joshua, the Messiah who took over after Moses, that was the baton holding off, and me as Elohim saying, guys, before you settle in Canaan, we got to take care of the giant clans, because if not, they're going to eat you. Do you want to move in next to people who want to eat you? By a raise of hand, who says no, you don't want to get eaten by a giant? This is the exact same thing today. Raise your hand if you do not want to be indoctrinated into a demon cult called Jihad. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you don't want Democrats stealing from America's treasury and giving it to special interest in illegal aliens. Raise your hand if you say, you know what, America's filthy rich, we should have our veterans who have fought for our country who have mental problems. They need help. Our VA system is a damn disaster. We need homes and roofs over every family in America. The disparity... I'm going to tone it down. The amount of disparity and the most pious, righteous, at least one nation under God, America, shouldn't have homeless veterans. We shouldn't have homeless families. Right? Homelessness truly should be a choice. And if it is a choice, then we should have people like Metropolitan Ministries, like Calvary, whatever churches, I'm saying, putting theology and doctrine aside, my people, then we have outreach programs to get homeless people who are choosing to be homeless. That's when they need counseling. That's when they need that intense effort to get them off the street. Like, you see what I mean? But there are millions of people that are homeless that don't want to be homeless. There are even portions of homeless people that are homeless and they're not even on drugs, or they're not drunks. They're genuinely just, they're usually not very educated. They have a really bad background, or they've came from bad families, and they don't have a foot in to success. They don't have a hand up, right? So instead of handouts, guys, we need to be giving hands up. Like, truly. And that's where it is. So really, I don't even know how loud this has been. I know I've been kind of yelling. So I'll try and turn it down a little bit. Okay. All right. So, coming to kind of our core of today, Jihad. The afflicting party, or the most deadly group of people, are the Islamic terrorists. They are directly responsible for over 47 years. And these are what I'm going to go over. So understand something. This has all been done Islamic terror. So again, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Iran, Ali Khamenei, Governor Waltz, Governor Frey, Elian Omar, Cortez, even Mr. Mamdani. Like, this is the team that these guys are playing for, if you didn't know. Some are playing for that team because of religious belief. Some are playing for that team because they're just demons incarnate. Others are playing for that team because they truly do have ill intent for America. There are people like Governor Waltz that truly do, I think, they despise America, and instead they want the collapse of America. And I will see your downfall. I will see you down a walk of shame, and when you get to see me, when your soul comes out of that flesh, it's not going to be good, A, but 2, I'm going to ensure that I save little screenshots kind of thing. As God, I can take little screenshots from heaven. I'm going to take little screenshots of your graves being spat on, because this is going to go down in history of what not to do in the future, how we do not let wolves ascend thrones of government, and how they lead and essentially destroy civilization. Guys, there is nothing new under the sun. This is the same playbook that I have seen as Elohim for the better part of 76,000 years total of human development and human living on this creation. Big or small, Stone Age or Modern Age, it's the same type of thing. And that's what I mean, right? They are evil. They are insidious, and they are going to cripple America if it's not stopped. So Got a little beard hair in my throat. Oh, this little thing has been tickling me. Still didn't get it. So on that note, I guess PT is doing an American tour, trying to pump up the midterm. But guys, this is no joke. And again, I'm not a political god. I don't want to be. But right now, this is truly battle. This is a battle for the heart of America. And dare I say that we're on the cliff of a civil war, because if the idiot left is hell-bent on changing gender, stealing from Americans, propping up jihad, like condemning Christians, like all these things are not only abominable, but then why are you in America? I thought you all promised me you were going to leave when Donald J. Trump got elected. That was half the reason I ensured he got elected. I wanted you guys out. But guess what? You're liars, and you didn't go. So shame on you all the way around it. Sickening. So here we go. This is why. When PT receives the green light from me, Elohim, to give Khamenei what he has been asking for. Ali Khamenei thinks he's invincible, and he's not. He thinks that his IRGC is going to protect him, and they're not. Because guess what? They're incarnate demons, and not my demons. Look, as God, I have demons that are more like Rottweilers. They will do nothing to humankind unless I say so. And those are spirits. Meaning those spirits, if they need to take human appearance, they can, and they can disappear just as quickly. And if they need to stay invisible and be just spirit and influence decisions or paths, they can, only at the direction of Elohim, me. Other than that, those Rottweilers are kind of on pause. And then my righteous angels, I try to set forth to my churches, people. And how does that work? That works that when a Sunday service or a Saturday service uses my name, if we were talking about computers and I said, you got to use the keyword Control Alt F, find, right? And then you're typing in YHWH. What does that do? That calls me. You're calling God. You're saying, hey, Father, we're actually going to praise, honor, and worship you. We want angels to come into our presence. We want to be able to, we have a boy here who needs healing. We have a woman who's in financial need. We have whatever. We have a storm coming and we need protection. What does the Bible tell you? Call on the name of the Lord. What is the name of the Lord? That's my name. It's Yahweh, Yahuwah. That's the point. So when churches are failing to do that, you're failing your flocks. You're saying, tornado's coming, praise Jesus, and that tornado comes and rips your asses apart. If you would have used my name, that tornado would have either stopped, went around you, or not existed all the way around it. Because what happens is living, breathing, well, they're not breathing into the human sense. They're not bone bags, but they're spirits. They have a conscience, they have a voice, they have an appearance, they have a physical appearance and a non-physical appearance. I'm saying, when my name is used, they know that they have constant, ongoing orders to say, oh, this is one of Father's locations, we need to go protect this. And the angels would go everywhere and do whatever it is my will wants for those people, because I look at my precious people and I say, okay, you want my guidance, I'll give it. You want my protection, I'll give it. You want my angels, I'll give it. And I give all these things freely. And there's no strings attached. There are no strings attached when it comes to me. That's my point, right? There is absolutely no quid pro quo with me, Elohim. It isn't, you call upon my name for protection and then I say, good, that's going to cost you $19.95. Never would I do that. Never would I do that. I don't even ask for donations. I just hope maybe one day in the next, 400 years, maybe somebody through the kindness of their heart would say that maybe Elohim in the flesh deserves some kind of income for all the work he does for us in spirit and on earth and all these wonderful things. Because again, right, given the amount of resources that exists, I directly would also like to be able to contribute something positive. But going into my main teaching of the day, so on the world scale, radical Islamic Jihad needs to be exterminated. I use that word directly, exterminated. There is no place in this world for a religious anything that murders as a part of their doctrine. That is an existential threat to not only America, to Israel, and bipartisanly, most, if not all, of Europe. And we're seeing what's happening in Europe. But let's go through the numbers. Let's start at 1985 in France. Paris. A series of a dozen bombings in Paris by the Iranian-sponsored committee with Arab and Middle Eastern political prisoners. 13 deaths, 225 injuries. Israel, July 7th of 89. Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, bus 405, suicide attack, and Kiryat Yarim, Jerusalem district, by a Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant. 27 injured, 16 dead. 1993, the World Trade Center bombing, and this is not a full list. This is literally just kind of moving across the world so I can give you an idea that this isn't localized to the Middle East. Jihad is all over the planet. And number one, America needs to clean house. From the top into the political spectrum all the way to the bottom with the illegals, guys. Because let me tell you something. What does Christian America look like? You know, and that commentator, like, I made this point. I love the John and Krisha show on Newsmax too. That's my morning routine. Like, I like to watch them before I start my video. I feel like I get a good thorough handle on the day of what's kind of going on in the political orbit. But they had a nasty liberal lady. Oh my gosh, I was having a good morning, and then I got that wrath. I don't know if you ever had it, but it's like a tingling that starts to kind of like trickle up, and I'm like, oh, that's getting me hot. Oh, it's getting me hot. She said the greatest threat to America is white Christians. First off, where does the white part come into play? There are black Christians, there are white Christians, there are Jewish Christians, because guess what? We're changing this. You're not a Christian. It's not Christianity or Judaism. We're going to call this now Judianity. Judianity. What is Judianity? Judianity means that you know the Ten Commandments. You know the almighty, great unknowable Elohim that actually manifests in human form. And when he does, he's always born by the name of Joshua. And therefore, when that happens, the Joshua part doesn't actually exist. It's just Yahweh. But the Joshua body is the vessel. It is the actual vessel that houses that spirit. That's why it's called Judianity. Okay? And damn, I lost my train of thought. Her meeting, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's hard for me to stay focused when she's going. But oh yeah. So that's what I mean. Like this, like, and again, so what is the deal with white Christianity? And then the lady goes on to say, like, oh, because they're lesbians, you know, well, if the truth offends you, right? I have said this, faggotry, right? Lesbianism, LGBTQ, guys, these are never, ever happening in heaven. I've said this in the past. If you are at least righteous, private, and it's out of sight, out of mind, it's not going to come with apparel. I'm not going to go after anybody like that. That's not my character. That's not my nature. Instead, as God, I deal with species all over the earth. Asher knows. Like, I deal with species. I work directly with animals to help their species thrive, grow, and sometimes mutate. So I'm saying, I see this as a fundamental sickness in humankind when they begin to have same-sex marriage and relations. That's a sickness. It's more of a poor thing type of thing, poor creature, versus, right, the God-fearing man and woman who, holy matrimony, we're having kids. Guess what? When you're a man and a woman and you make love, guess what happens? A byproduct is you get to give life. You're giving me, God, a chance to give this family life. If you just meditated on that, that's what I mean. I'm dropping stuff for not only my teachers, my preachers, my pastors, my rabbis, all of you who get this message in spirit and truth and honesty or in video and whatever. These are things to meditate on. Because Christians and Jews that know the one true God, me, Yahweh, Elohim, in or out of person, right? You're in Judianity at that point. There is no Jesus first Yahweh. That is insanity. That's stupid. That'd be like 2,000 years from today, in the future. Let's say 2,000 years down the road. Let's say I come back 2,000 years. Let's say I left. I don't plan on it, but let's say I did, and I come back in 2,000 years. And then I pick up your new version of the Bible, and I go, well, Angel Michael, let's see how they interpreted the events. And I open the Bible, and Archangel Michael, he's got a bit of a sense of humor. You know, he'll say, Majesty, why don't you have a seat first? You know, he'll either call me Majesty or Father. And so we'll sit back, and sometimes I'll even have Archangel Michael read to me. And anyway, so sit back and we'll start reading. And that'd be like in 2,000 years from now, Archangel Michael picks up the book, and he's like, you know, oh, well, you know, basically they're saying that, you know, there's a separation is what I mean. Like that the doctrine says that there's some kind of separation that, you know, oh, well, the Third Testament's like different. I don't know. Maybe that was a bad path to go on. I'm just trying to say, guys, the fight between good and evil is about principalities and powers, and you have to be able to be righteous yourself to see the wrong. And sometimes that's looking at yourself and going, okay, I'm wrong. You know, and then saying, okay, well, let me change my wrongs because I can see clearly now the sin is gone, right? I can see all the obstacles in my way. And then you do, right? Then you see the obstacles. Then you say, okay, I see what I gotta do here. Let me get myself in order. Once you get yourself in order, you're done with your trial. Now you gotta go help somebody else with that trial. How in any way is that a detriment to American society? Christian society thrived when it was the majority of Christians. Those people, I love the Death Valley Day show. When those people were traveling from the east to the west, they were reading Bibles. They were teaching scripture when they would stop to eat just stews and hardtack coffee in the morning. I'm talking old school, 1800s. You know, these people were traveling after the Louisiana Purchase all the way to California. And they were righteous people. Their biggest problems of the day were not dying of cholera, not dying of polio, not dying of elements. You know, they were hardy people that had a healthy focus on me, Elohim, and whatever way that was back then. Point I'm making, that's when America prospered and thrived. Those are the people who built America, by the way. They built the very things that these whiny Democrats, these liberal lunatics, are trying to destroy. The nation was literally built on the backs of Judianity. Good, hardworking Jews, good, hardworking Americans. And when I say Americans, Americans is not a nationality. You are an American based on your belief that America is a sovereign republic, that it's for and owned by the people. It is one nation under God. That means that we're not afraid to post the 10 Commandments in public spaces because that is the rules of civilization that your God gave you. I am that God. And the promises are, if you do these things, I will be your shepherd. I will be your leader. I will be your protector. I will be your shield and your buckler. And, you know, to that point, that lady said, you know, Christians, they'll say, oh, you're lesbians and, you know, all these things. And then they hide behind the shield of the moral high ground. Yeah. That's kind of how that goes. Now, I will say that Judianity, right, you should be using that righteously. I don't encourage people to go out and don't stir the pot. But if the situation comes, and basically if you have what I would call that opportunity, then yes, you need to be calling out the wrongs. You need to be calling out the evil of the world. But we do not want to stoop to the loony left's low. We do not want to be nasty. All right, we don't want to be nasty. We want to keep the moral high ground. And we do want to be a beautiful people. That's a fact. Because that's something that people don't talk about either. Right? I hate to say this, but, you know, criminals come in all types of disguises. But more times than not, right, a lot of the reflective outward appearance can actually indicate similar internal. As a human, like a seed, right? When you grow a seed, if you were to pull a seed out of a packet, like me and Astro just put the garden in December, and believe it or not, green beans, like already probably 9 inches. I've got my lettuce is now getting way too big. The whole thing is now just overtaken by herbs and lettuce. So I'm going to have to cut that back this weekend. I digress. The seed. So if you look at these seeds and you're like, oh, that's a good looking seed, right? It's nice and round. Like, it looks like it's supposed to be a good seed. You put that seed in, it grows, and hey, look at that. It grew out to be a beautiful plant. But then sometimes you see a seed and you're like, I don't know. I think it looks a little funky. A little bit of a funky seed. You plant it, and guess what? It grows a little funky, right? I'm saying, a lot of times you can see this if someone's grew up in a godless, drug-fueled, transient, you know, hot lifestyle. They look it, right? You look at 25-year-olds, they look rough. Like, they look rough. You know, they got tattoo, fuck you. You know, they got, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell, like, these people are rough looking. You didn't get that way by sitting in the pews at 10 years old with mom and dad and then going out to eat at the Cracker Barrel after Sunday church. You get what I mean? There are different types of people, and the actions, the behavior, the outward display oftentimes does reflect them. The left Democrats for the last, I'll say, 70 years, this was back in the 50s and 60s movement, where they began to rebel with the very simple things like, get mom out of the kitchen and get mom to work. I have no problem with women working. That's not a problem at all. But I do got a problem with then sacrificing the family value. So how are we going to make one-to-one if back in 1950, if a husband was able to make plenty enough money to pay the bills, take the family on a vacation, mom had the... Here's the difference between a libtard and reality. Mom had the opportunity, had the luxury of being a paternal or a maternal parent to her offspring with the safety and the comfort of having the husband bringing home the meat, paying the bills. Now, in this situation, me and Asherah is actually flipped. She is bringing home the bacon in the financial way, and I am the stay-at-home father. Obviously, it helps me do this for you fine folks every day, but I run my ship tight. My kitchen's clean. My house is clean. My yard is done. My kids are ship shape all the time. We have tubs at 8 o'clock every night. We have dinner by 6 every night. They're up by 6:30, 7 o'clock every day for school. I make them breakfast. Cameron has eggs and toast. I'm saying, I have the privilege to be a stay-at-home father. My wife brings in enough income for us we don't go crazy. We can't afford to, but with good budgeting, I get to be there for my children every single day. I'm there taking them to school, and I'm there picking them up from school. I'm at every family like school event. I'm saying I am extremely active in their life. That also helps me keep a pulse on what they are growing into be. If I see an unrighteous behavior, I can quickly nip it in the bud. I know that they're safe at home. And guess what? Backtracking back to 1950, you know, the liberal left, right? They were trying to jailbreak women. No, they brainwashed women. They were brainwashing women instead of women seeing the ability to stay at home while their husband went to work. They began seeing that as somehow a woman's suffrage. Do you see how deadly and dangerous that perspective is? They're convincing people that something good is actually not good. And that is really, if you want to go, where was the starting line? There's your starting line. And again, pairing this with other videos. Why is it important to listen to videos every one after another? Because I'm building precept upon precept. So, damn it, she's going. I keep getting distracted, damn it. Oh yeah. So again, right, after World War II, right? So war took out big chunks of men, and then that obviously had a it was a pop-up news thing. So so coming off the heels of that, and then we had a shortage of men, but then likewise into the family home unit, women were primarily staying at home. That's a benefit to the family. That was creating strong family dynamics. Then we encourage women to go to work. Now children don't have that parent. So now what happens? Now the parents both come home from work. They're exhausted. They're like, I don't want to cook. I don't want to cook. Order a pizza. Now we're getting fat. Now the kids aren't seeing hard work equity being put into the home. Now the home goes by the wayside. Now it's not even being kept up. Now we're trading out good ovens for decent microwaves. Now we're trading out real home-cooked meals. I make home-cooked meals every night. Every night. I've said this, and it's important to me I serve my family. I am Almighty God. I serve my Asherah. I serve my children. I am the head of the household. I am the leader of the world. I am the creator of the world. And for any person, especially humankind, to ever think themselves so high up that they're not capable of serving, that's a faulty ideal. That truly is demon behavior. Why is feet washing something I've done in the past and something I've done today? Because it shows that no matter how high one is, you should always have the heart of a servant. That's what that means. That's what that means. And you do it out of humility. And I do that out of humility. But I do the things that I do because I see that they're the most benefit. So going back to the narrative. So, again, now the left taking, mom out of the kitchen, right? Because we're jailbreaking mom. What happened? Again, the Democrats, the liberal left, the 60s, right? Let's have free sex and love. Let's have sex before marriage. They were rebelling. Who else rebelled? The fallen angels. How did that end up? Terrible. Everything they did that preceded their actions of rebellion permeated, and everything they have done since then has caused chaos, mayhem, degradation, and essentially has, as the result, has sent people into a loop, a recycle, or is sending people to the abyss, right? Because they want to be liberate. They want to be, I can kill my own baby if I want. If that's the case, then as Elohim, I will just send one of my Rottweiler spirits, and I'll just have the Rottweiler spirit devour you before you can get knocked up, you whore. Strong moral value is the only way. Is the only way. That's what I mean. So I do see that the rest of the world is heathens, right? They're doing all this nastiness. Not in America. America's got to be the place that crap stops. Because if not, folks, we have 9/11s. We have 9/11s. Worse than 9/11s. We have, again, broken households. We have family units that aren't even family units. People procreating to just let their children raise themselves, and then they end up becoming Tim Waltz. This is insane. You need to be able to understand that this is one of the most crucial pivot points in human history. Guys, we're either going to make it, and if we do, it's going to be the greatest thing that the creation has ever seen, and it's going to be the greatest thing that you advanced, modernized humans, you guys will get to see not only the fruits of your own labor, but you're going to be able to see, heavenly, miraculous things that I will be comfortable enough to do. Because we don't want this Islamic Jihad taking over, and that's my point. So it starts in the liberal 50s, right? They're liberating for sex, drugs, alcohol. You look at these disgusting photos, they're sitting on these grassy knolls listening to rock concerts with newborns while they're getting high. That's not godly. That's not righteous. That is definitely, if it's not demonic directly, it is definitely walking that pathway with a hall pass. I mean, without a hall, like I'm saying, like it's bad. And then that just continues to grow from there. So then it continues to metamorphosize itself. And then before you know it, right, now we have open politicians, talking heads, people on TV that are openly shaming Christian values. Like, what is wrong with you? The one thing Christianity at least should be doing, and then again, if a church is not trying to be orderly, righteous, and the moral high ground, that is why Christians, not only because I'm obviously your God, but I'm saying having the moral high ground, that's the way, right? You do. Your spears are truth. You tell the truth. If it hurts feelings, it hurts feelings. If they try to shout back insults and condemn you, you put up the shield of Yahweh. You put up the shield of righteousness and go, I'm sorry, but that goes against the Bible. That goes against the Creator's plans. And we see what happens when we've gone against the Creator's plans. We have the story of the angels that tell us these things. We have proof of when demonic religion takes hold. Christians not demonic. The Jews aren't demonic. That's why I'm calling y'all Judianity. Alright, back to my main point. This isn't even my main point. It was just literally Asher and I talking, and she's obviously my queen consort, but she'll stoke my fire. Like, because we'll talk, and she's got her own actual desk of business. I mean, mine is actual desks of business too, but I'm saying, like, she'll kind of poke around a little bit and get me on something. Alright. February 26th of 93 in the United States. This was the first one. The World Trade Center bombing in New York resulted in 6 deaths, 1,042 injuries. Tanzania/Kenya, August 7th of 1998. Embassy bombings in Dar es Salaam and Nairobi. 224 deaths. United States, September 11th. A series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by Al-Qaeda involving hijacking and crashing of passenger jet airliners. 2,996 deaths and over 25,000 injuries. This is all by Jihad. The central capital of Jihad is Iran, is Ali Khamenei, that entire regime. Remember, this is not the Iranian people. The Iranian people are literally trying to revolt, and they're trying to have a revolution so they can get rid of the Jihad. Guys, they don't want to be murdered any more than anyone else does. Why are we playing ball with murderers? They are not a legitimate humanoid. They are not a legitimate cause. They are not a legitimate religion. They are a false religion, a false cause, demonically infested the entire world, and their sick idealizations are continuing, and now it has breached into the motherland. America, Zion, is the motherland. Sorry, Israel, you had your chance. Maybe we'll talk about partnerships and secondary lands once we can figure out. You guys, that's what I mean. I gave you guys the smallest effing list. You could have fit on the back of a damn receipt. And you drug your feet. You're hemming and hawing. You're talking about this. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Well, too bad. Moving on. 2002, Indonesia, October the 12th. Bali bombings, the tourist district of Kuta on the island of Bali. 202 deaths. And guys, 100% of the time, that's another thing, 100% of the time, these are not military targets. These aren't even military people doing it. And these are religious groups called Islamic Jihad. That's called truth. Barack Hussein Obama did not want to call it Islamic terror because he did not want the people to fully understand what it is. He wanted to give the false impression that he cared. He wanted to give the false inclination that we're going to do something about it. You did nothing about it. And now here we are. And I hate to say this, but people have been so desensitized to death. In Indonesia, Bali, tourist, imagine Disneyland, guys. That's what I mean. Humans have been so desensitized that when I say these things, it doesn't click. What's a tourist, right? Imagine this said, location, United States, October 12th, Disney World bombing in the tourist district of Orlando. 202 American deaths and 240 injuries. How would you feel about it then? Because that's what pisses me off about Democrats, is they want to play the race card when it's beneficial to them, their office, and their bullshit causes, but yet when it talks about Islamic Jihad killing Indonesians, oh, we don't care about that. Killing Saudi Arabians, we don't care about that. Killing Spaniards, killing people from United Kingdom or Egypt, they don't care about that. Well, why does the world not care about any other body except for what the fucking Democrats say? I'm taking 5 because I'm getting pissed. Part of my new regimen is taking a break before I get mad. And I'm back. Whew. The wife made the coffee strong this morning. Wow. She makes my coffee, I make her breakfast. That's how that works. Okay. So, the point I'm trying to make here is, these jihads, their central location is Iran. That's why this regime needs to fall. And this is also why this is not like any other war that has ever happened. So I totally understand America first, but guys, you need to understand this too. We have a massive problem with jihad all around the world, and it's a tragedy, guys. Human life is so important to me, God, because I genuinely, every time someone dies, and it's not through divine providence or it's not through their natural life path, that's a problem. Businesses, right? How would you as a business feel that you have a problem with a certain group of a cult that continues to kill off your employees? As God, every humanoid, every human being upon this creation is an employee of heaven, one way or another. If you choose not to be an employee of the kingdom of heaven, then I'm going to cut your life path short, and I'm going to sort you so you don't come back into the fray, into the fold. Not by the hands of Islamic Jihad demon worship. So continuing, right? Indonesia. Oh, we did that one. 03. Saudi Arabia. May the 12th. Riyadh compound bombing. Al-Qaeda attackers drove 3 car bombs into residential compound housing Westerners and others. 9 bombers and another 3 insurgents died. 27 deaths, 160 injuries. They're killing civilians because they think they get some 72 virgins in heaven. That's not true. That's false. I am God. That means that when a human dies, their soul comes up to me. If they've never been in religion, if they've never been any type of way introduced to me in whatever form, that means they go on the scale. The fastest way to go quite literally to hell or the abyss is acts of murder. Acts of murder. Not war. That is unfortunate, and it is sad, and it should never happen, and it will. That's what I mean. Once we get rid of Islamic Jihad, guess what? That is the only way to indefinite peace. I swear by my own name, once this is rid of, once the Islamic Jihad ideals are gone, once this entire threshold, the Iranian head of the snake is gone, to that point, if PT makes a deal with Iran, we're going to have issues on a cosmic level. Not only am I going to be angry, I will be beyond wrathful. That is not in any shape or form the way. And that's what I mean. If when we bomb Iran and we get Khomeini and we get the IRGC at least down to their knees and we can help the resistance get in there, we can do this without boots on the ground. I believe that. I believe with American air power and then Israeli air power, and with Israel has literally some of the smartest, they're not MI5, I think that's English. Basically, the intelligence officers in Israel are beyond smart. Like, truly, these people, I made them, I know, these people are freaking smart. They have such good intel that, 90 days, I would say within 90 days, we could take out arms manufacturing facilities, nuclear capabilities completely gone, the entire diplomatic side of the Iranian regime completely wiped out. Let, old King Pahlavi come in there. I would not institute him as a king off the rip. I would definitely say let's get the democracy going, get the government in place, get a constitution flowing, get free markets going, get people rebuilding, get them happy, get the people of Iran in the world, get them in the game, guys. They're on the sideline while an evil, tyrannical dictator is ruling the Middle East through proxy. That means that he is sending out little demons to go and hurt Westerners. I'm telling you history right now. And it's happened. My point is, it happens to Saudi Arabians, to Indonesians, to Americans, to Tanzanians, Kenyans, Israelis, Frenchmen. Continuing on, 2004, Spain, March 11th, Madrid train bombings, 193 deaths, over 2,000 injured. The United Kingdom on July 7th, 2005, 4 suicide bombers attacked London underground trains and rail stations and a double-decker bus during the morning rush hour, killed 52, 784 injured. Egypt, July 23rd, 2005, Sharm el-Sheikh bombing attacks through shopping and hotel areas in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh, 88 deaths, 150 injuries. Again, that's what I'm trying to say, guys. This has nothing to do with race. This has everything to do with demonic idealization. Demonic idealization that if the world is not going to conform to Sharia law, and it's not, then that means that they're natural enemies. Christians, Judianity doesn't have any enemy other than wicked and evil people. That's decided based on their action. If you are a wicked and evil person, the good, pious, righteous people, primarily found in Judianity, are going to be coming after you. Our militaries will be coming after you. So sweareth I, saith the Lord God Almighty. This has to happen. This is going to be our first largest step in actually creating peace, not false peace. No deals. There can never be a deal with Ali Khamenei. The only deal I'm willing to even make with Ali Khamenei is that if he raises the white flag today it's 10:47 a.m. Eastern on the 28th of January. If he raises the white flag in the next 12 hours and he exiles himself to never be heard again, that is the only way out of this for him. Because every other pathway leads to his death. And he is not a martyr. As soon as he comes out of his flesh, that soul's coming to me. Not Allah, not Jesus. It's coming to me. Yahweh Elohim, Yahuwah. Because I am the only God that created these things. So that means they're my responsibility. That's what I mean. Whether you like it or not, it is the way it is. Like, it's, I guess in a way, it's a natural spiritual monopoly that I have. And in the past, I tried to break up that monopoly and give power to local deities, so I didn't have to do what I'm doing. I would like to be sitting back truly in my temple with my goddess and my children, and I would love to teach people. I would love to go travel. I'd love to go and do all the amazing things that my creation has to offer. I don't want to sit here being stressed out because I have humans dying. I have Democrats trying to destroy the only one of the few remaining civilizations that are going to be functional and have a chance, and yet we're actively letting literal jihadists like take over our damn country. It's not happening. moving on. We're in 05. Did Egypt? Okay, Indonesia. October 29th, 2005. Tentina market. That's another news article. 2005. Tentina market bombings. 3 attacks in crowded markets in a bus. 60 deaths, 180 injuries, all civilians. You know, and that's another thing, right? In Egypt, they're bombing people who were shopping and in hotels on vacation. How sick. Imagine. I mean, I'm in Florida, so Clearwater's just right up, right down the road. Not right down the road, but it's about like 50 minutes. Saying I've been to Clearwater many times as a young adult. Not really much as like an older man, but I mean saying like Clearwater's a vacation spot, right? It's got like hotels, it's got restaurants, it's got music. They got cool water activities. You can rent jet skis. You can go slide down this huge slide. If you like fishing, they got a cool pier down there. What a great spot. I've been there many times. Can you imagine people out there on a bright and sunny Saturday in the middle of July? Maybe whatever, and then all of a sudden, people are shopping at the surf shop, picking up some boogie boards and some cool Florida t-shirts, and boom, Ali Akbar! Stupid. Oh, I can't even utter that in this house. This house is holy. Can't even say that. Jordan, 2005. Amman bombings. A series of coordinated suicide attacks on, again, hotels. 4 attackers, including a husband and a wife team, were involved. 60 deaths. This is how wicked and demonic these people are, guys. They have been brainwashed so bad that they feel that they can go and suicide bomb. And what are they attacking? They're attacking the free and normal world. These people are just being humans, and the good part of being human. What does that mean? That means I have made you beautiful beaches. Come to those beaches. Please keep it clean. Come enjoy it. Try skiing. Have you ever been on the back of a boat and did the raft thing? I have. That's a lot of fun, right? What do they call it? Tubing, right? Tubing is so much fun. God, what a day in the sand. You got some friends who have a boat with a tube. You get out there, you're having fun. Then you go up to one of the beach shacks, have a big burger and some French fries. Like, that's good stuff. Don't trash my beach, right? Don't be a drunk. Don't, start shit with people. Be respectful. Be polite. Be courteous. Be neat. And leave the place, as good as you can so the next family can come enjoy. I'm saying these are normal people doing normal things, and their pathway is ending because of jihad. Not once are Christians or Jews doing these things. You see what I mean? This is not their nature. It's not my nature as their Elohim. Their nature should be peace, order, good conduct, high moral ground, and a solid head on their shoulders, right? They know the family values, they know godly values, they respect the creation, they respect others, but at the same time, if there is an injustice, they are confident that they can speak out legibly, clearly, and accurately, not nasty, not, I'm saying it's a very high road for Judianity to go down. But that's the job. That's the job, right? And taking that a step further, if you're in Judianity, right, then you need to look at yourself as a higher responsibility, a higher responsible adult, because you are then, whatever you're in, whatever city, town, country, county, you have a high moral obligation to not only keep yourself in check, your family in check, but through your good dealings in your community, you're going to bring that goodness to them. That's what I mean. You want to make people envious because of the goodness you bring, not the money. Has nothing to do with what car you're driving. Guys, it's your character. My son's school is a good example. There are people that are sitting in line that we have the car line. If you have kids, the car line is an ordeal every damn day. Drop off and pick up. I'm very grateful that my son's school has a very well-oiled system for this. And for the most part, the teachers and the parents of the students, I'm saying, are fairly good, right? The teachers for sure are usually a little bit higher caliber. I like that. But I'm saying, like, there's an infinity that's in the line, right? This person's blasting all kinds of nasty rap music. Bad behavior. Shame, right? Your bumper stickers are crap. You have cuss words in your bumper stickers. Like, crap, right? Shoo-shoo. Poo-poo. And I'm saying money doesn't buy class, right? Meanwhile, you have someone who's in a beater, but they're trying their hardest to take care of it, right? You open the door, at least it's clean. It's not full of cigarette smoke. It's not got booze bottles in it. They're not blasting nasty music. You know, they're just there to pick up their grandkids or their kids or what have you. You know what I mean? But then you talk to them, and then you are even more impressed, I am, with their character. You know, we're walking up to the little cafeteria. That same family that I noted to Asherah was the exact same family that held the door for us. You see how that is what I mean? It's the character that matters. And that family in particular, see, I as Elohim, when I see that, I go, you're showing me goodness. You're showing me that you as a human are being a good person. I want to do something special for you. On that note, before I forget, thank you, whoever got those couches, truly. I hope, if it was for personal use, I hope they serve you as well as they have served me. That my family has spent many years enjoying those couches. And I said that all the levers I replaced in the recliner, so they are all functional. There's no rips in it at all. So, I mean, it's a little faded because of the dogs and us sitting on it for the last, 7 years. But, I mean, whoever picked them up, thank you, number one. Number two, if they're for personal, I hope you get many years out of them. They were really expensive when me and Asherah bought them. On the other hand, if you picked them up just because I needed them gone, I will give you a 7-point blessing financially and others. Truly, because if that was something that someone did for me because I needed it done and it was not for your personal gain, truly, you have my 7-fold blessing on that. And, I truly do. I hope that, you and your family are well. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're righteous. And if you're not righteous, then I will apply the heaven powers to try to encourage you to be righteous, because you really did me a solid. And as I showed yesterday, I don't make any money on my videos. What Asherah makes is literally to pay the bills and to feed the house. So there's not a lot of money in there for me to rent a truck and then pay the fee for the dump. And the junk people was $160 minimum. So that's decisions, right? When I have something like that, I have to cut something else out. And I'm dealing with my daughter, my adopted daughter. She's got a $14,000 college gap that we've got to try to fill with scholarships, which is hard. She has grad bash. I'm saying 12th grade apparently is all money. All money. I'm not going into this, but Herf Jones, I don't like the monopoly that Herf Jones has on seniors or school in general. I think that's crap too. But back to our point of the day, which is the bombing of Iran, why it needs to be done, why Islamic Jihad won't stand, and anybody who sides with those ideals needs to be on the warning. You need to change your ways. Either be neutral and don't be into religion, or if you want to be in religion, then find one that's peaceful. That's my point. You don't have to be in Judianity, but you can go be a Buddhist. They're peaceful. Go be a spiritualist. I don't really care. You get what I mean? There are so many religions on this creation that at least at the minimum it teaches good morals, good character, good behavior, walk lightly in creation, be respectful to others, respect authority figures, But at the same time, if those same authority figures, if you've identified them as unrighteous and they are actually wolves in sheep's clothing, then you have my approval to, use your political action to get them dethroned. Put people in place that we need, that are going to be for America, not against it. Okay. Yeah, so again, back to our jihadist killing of normal people and usually resorts. Egypt, April 24th, 2006. Dahab bombings, bomb attacks on the resort city of Dahab, 23 deaths, 80 injuries. India, July 11th, 2006, Mumbai train bombing, 7 bomb blasts over a period of 11 minutes on the suburban railway in Mumbai, 209 deaths, 700 injured. 2008, India, May 13th, 9 synchronized blast in Jaipur claimed by the Indian Mujahideen, suspected to be carried out by ALL Jihad al-Islam. 56 dead, 200 wounded. India again, November the 26th, a series of coordinated attacks on Mumbai. The Indian government blamed Pakistan-based militant group Lashkar-e-Taiba and stated that the attackers were citizens of Pakistan, which the Pakistani government first rejected but then accepted when given proof. One of the attackers was Ajmal Kasab, was caught alive. 2009, in Pakistan, March the 3rd, a bus carrying Sri Lankan cricketers is a game, so they were like a sports team, was fired upon by 12 gunmen believed to be members of Lashkar-e-Taiba near Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. 6 members of the Sri Lankan national cricket team were wounded and 6 policemen and 2 civilians were killed. 8 deaths, 9 injury. 2010, Russia, March 29th. Moscow metro bombings in the Caracas Emirate claimed responsibility for 40 deaths and 102 injuries. Pakistan again on May 28th of 2010. Ahmedabad mosques massacre. Tariq al-Taban, Pakistan, claimed attacks on 2 mosques belonging to Ahmadiyya Muslim community. 86 killed, 45 injured. Pakistan again, July the 1st, 2010. Lahore bombings, anti-Sufi attack. 42 plus dead, 175 injured. 2012. These are all the reasons why we are going to war with Iran, but it's not a war. It's going to be an aerial bombing campaign alongside Israel. Israel's intelligence officers are going to be going in there, and they're going to be, they know what to do. They've had this plan in place for 20 years, guys. That's what I mean. This is literally just the last effing straw. I, as God, am done with this crap. There's no more deals. There's no more opportunity. This needs to happen. And President Trump is a man of his word. I have no doubt. But I know President Trump, and I know his intelligence committee and what the strategy is. So I'm trying to be cooperative in that, because I would like to see Khamenei be the first death on the roster. But I can go on and on and on. You know, United States, United Kingdom, Kenya, 67 dead in Kenya on September 21st. Again, a Westgate shopping mall attack in Nairobi. Westgate shopping mall is also in America. So imagine the Mall of America. People are buying clothes. They're at the food court. They're waiting in line to see a movie, right? They're meeting up with friends. Teenagers love the mall, right? They get to socialize. They get to walk around. They have lunch together. They can go to a movie together. They can go shopping. Malls are cool. And guess what happened? On September 21st, 2013 in Kenya, people at a shopping center were murdered by the hands of Islamic Jihad. Islamic Jihadist Muslims. Why do I include Muslim? Because it is their doctrine. When I say it is their doctrine, guys, I mean they in their Bible, so like Judianity has our Bible, right? My word. Bloated as it is, but still my word. Muslims have a doctrine called the Quran. In the Quran, if they're truly an obedient Muslim worshiper, then they're doing the activities of jihad. That's a problem. Right? Because someone who says, well, I'm a Muslim, but I don't do that. That'd be kind of like saying you're a Christian, but you don't get baptized. Come on, folks. You know what I mean? That's not really, that's like, well, if you're a Christian, one of the first things you do is usually get baptized. You know? And it's like, so you're telling me you're a Christian, but you don't get baptized? You're telling me you're a Muslim, but you don't agree with Sharia law. That's what the whole damn Quran's about. Be that as it may, right? Then put down the Quran. That's what I mean. Then at that point, you're at an injunction, because you're at a point of saying, well, I want to be Muslim, but I don't want to do the jihad activities. Then you're not actually a Muslim. You're probably just a normal human being who wants to have a spiritual side of life and you know there's a creator, that would be me, Yahweh, Elohim, Yahuwah, and you want to just establish like a good path for you and your family. And when you die, you want to make sure you go to heaven. That's pretty simple, isn't it? You don't have to go around killing people. You don't have to go strap bombs to yourself. You don't have to make this big thematic event. You could literally just say, it's very simple. I'm just going to be a good human being. And God said, here's 10 rules of civilization. Follow those. And don't let anybody lead you off of them. If you need help, I'm here to help you. In the video, in the flesh, in the spirit, in heaven, however way you need it. That's it. It's pretty simple. I think so. Alright, let me check in with the queen here. Let me see what she's got going on here. I think I hear her quietness. That usually means she's done with the meeting. And we're back. Alrighty, so I'll try to speed it up here. So 2014, Nigeria, the Borno massacre, 200 deaths. Iraq, Buddhist prison, and this is June 10th in Iraq, 2014. Buddhist prison massacre, the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant killed at least 670 Shia prisoners in an attack on the Buddhist prison. First separated the Sunni inmates before executing the remaining prisoners, 670 dead. Attacks in Russia, Canada, more in the United States. Nigeria, the Kano bombing in November 28th was 120 deaths. Russia, 2014, Gronsley clashes, 26 dead. Australia, I'm skipping over a lot, but I'm trying to just edify the point that, you know, guys, in Pakistan on December 16th, 2014, the Peshawar school massacre, 140 children. Like, in Iraq, August 2014, genocide of Yazidis by the Islamic State. An estimated 7,000 women and girls were forced into sex slavery, and over 5,000 died and upwards of 10,800 injured. I want you to imagine that. Imagine 7,000 females to be used as tools to carry demon babies for these Islamic Jihad. Like, this should have you in tears. This should have you weeping. And this is what the Iranian people are trying to get away from. See, the problem when you say America first, that is protecting the homeland. That's getting rid of illegal aliens. That's making sure our border's secure. That is also ensuring that we as America have open trade routes to a free world, and that the rest of the world is not a danger to us or our allies. Who are our allies? They are people that are similar, like-minded, meaning that they want upright civilizations. They want prosperity for people. They want equity in their land. They want to do the right thing. That's righteousness. Versus not our people, right? Not our people try to kill our people. Again, 200 dead in the Boko Haram attack in the town of Bega. Another 2,000 were kidnapped, and that was January the 8th in Nigeria. You know, on and on and on. Yemen, Tunisia, Denmark, Syria, France, Libya, Kenya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iraq, United States, Afghanistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, France, Tunisia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Nigeria, Turkey, Nigeria. And guys, the numbers are 220, 62, 200. Like, Cameroon, July 26th, a suicide bomber detonated a popular nightclub in Marua, right? This killed 27. No, that was on the 27th of July. This killed 10. Another Nigeria, crowded market. A truck bombing in another market, Iraq, August 13th, killed 70, injured 200. Like, these are atrocities. These are crimes against humanity. How could the European Union or how could the United Nations even have the damn kneecaps to stand up straight? because if they do, then they're not human. Egypt. Bomb on board a Russian jet brought it down in the Sinai Peninsula. 224 dead. 137 dead. This is France, November 13th. A series of terrorist attacks in Paris involving a series of coordinated attacks which consisted of mass shootings, suicide bombings. The incident was the deadliest event on French soil since World War II. And that was, what year was this? Wow. These were all in 2015. That's, I mean, it's crazy. You know, in Turkey, Ankara bombings. Egypt. Oh, we just covered that one. You know, France, Iraq, the Philippines, Nigeria, 30 plus. 22, 70 in Afghanistan again, 60 in Syria, 30 Nigeria. Like, and yeah, that was all 2015. That was 1 year. You know? India again, Afghanistan again, Libya, 50 plus dead, 100 injured. In the January 7th Libya situation, it was the Zilton truck bombing. Islamist militants detonated a truck bomb at the Al Jafal police training camp. Police training camps. So these people are detonating in shopping malls, markets, like schools. Why? Because they're weak. Because they are weak. They are demons. There's no other way around it. And I am so looking forward if PT can get Kamani, if he can get that soul, if he can unalive him, then that means I will get to meet Ali Khamenei. Oh, there is quite a lot I have planned for him in his afterlife party. It's gonna be a great shout. Oh, it's gonna be great. Libya, January 7th. You know, another truck bombing. Try and go with the higher numbers, but again, the areas, right? France, that's what I mean. Like, you look at Europe. Europe is being overtaken by mosque, overtaken by Muslim jihad. Guys, that's their strategy. They come into an area under the guise of free peace religion, only to then smuggle in the militant arm of their religion, and the militant arm of their religion begins slaughtering innocents, slaughtering civilians, burning entire villages. So really, whenever we're looking at the October 7th, this is just par for the course for Islamic Jihad. What made this one different was Israel responded with a resounding, "We are going to kill you back." That's the difference. And good thing. You know, Nigeria, gunmen raided an entire village, killing 65 and up to 136 women and children injured. Uruguay, Ivory Coast, 18 dead in the Grand Bassam shooting. An Al-Qaeda gunman stormed 3 hotels. Again, they're coming in hotels. People are trying to travel the world, get a sense of culture, get an experience of my creation, and then they're being killed by fugazis, by these literal demons. Like, guys, we have got to kill them. We have got to eradicate them. And they are not allowed in the U.S. government. This is a Christian nation, not a jihad nation. Again, people like whatever her name is, Omar and Talib and all this other crap. Like, this is their party. This is their group, guys. And so, I mean, they don't give a shit about American values. They're trying to weaken America from within enough that they can start smuggling in their jihad. These people, like, celebrate this stuff. Like, it's sick stuff. You know, Turkey, Istanbul bombing carried out by an ISIS member. Iraq, March 20th. This is now in 2016. Suicide bombers attacked a municipality building. This is another big one. March 22nd of 16 in Belgium. Brussels bombing. 2 suicide bombings in Brussels airport and 1 bombing in Brussels metro. Yemen. Suicide bombers struck security clearance checkpoints. You know, here's another sick one. I mean, they're all sick, but Iraq, March 25th of 16. A suicide bomber blew himself up at a football stadium in Iskandaria, south of Baghdad. And it says ISIL, which is the Islamic State, basically they're like Al Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas. They're all pretty much the same wolf in the same sheep's clothing. But 30 dead, 95 injured. A football game. So I want you to walk through that as an American. We have the Super Bowl coming up in a couple of weeks, which I want to remind everybody we are boycotting the Bad Bunny halftime show. After Q2, we're turning it off in this house. I'm encouraging my Judianity, that's Christian and Jewish churches, to do the same thing. Encourage righteous citizens to do the same. Even if they go, well, I'm not Christian. Are you a good person? Well, yeah. Do you like the moral fiber of a good ethical society? Yeah. Do you want a good, safe future for your children? Yeah. Do you want to see that the federal budget is going to the actual programs and not going into the pockets of Democrats and liberal demons? Yeah. Okay. Then back God's play. Boycott the NFL halftime. We got to make changes in the public spectrum because we want to let them know that we're not tolerating this shit. But anyway, I'll pretty much give it a break. But here's another one. Iraq, July 3rd. Baghdad bombings. 2 coordinated bomb attacks killed 341 with 246 injured. Another one in France, 2016. Killed 87, wounded 450. Pakistan, another one. Like, it goes on and on and on. I mean, I am still scrolling. 2018 was a shit show. My goodness. Syria, 2018, a string of suicide bombings and gun attacks that took place in around Aswanda. The attacks were committed by the Islamic State Jihad. 258 dead, and then in parentheses it says, and 63 of the attackers were dead. So that's good. At least the Syrian forces fought back. Oh, here you go. Here's Egypt, November 2nd. Islamic militants ambushed 3 buses carrying Christian pilgrims returning from a remote Coptic Christian monastery and opened fire. The Islamic Jihad state not only claimed responsibility, but celebrated the attack. They celebrated the attack, folks. Like, this is what we're dealing with. Sri Lanka, 269 people dead. And that was on Easter Sunday. So let's go through this. This is the persecution of Christians and Jews. That's what I mean. This is what makes me mad. When I, as God, am sitting right here in my desk looking at the world, I can do that. And I go, Christians, I am your God. Jews, I am your God. Your doctrine and your theology is upside down because guess what? Through good intentions or not, you have inflated and bloated my word, and you have misconstrued my name, my character, and my coming. That's fine. Keep it simple. I'm your Elohim. You know that by the commandments. You know that by the first 5 books of the Bible. If you keep it simple, stupid, you'll know this. And guess what? The enemy, our enemy, Islamic Jihad is our enemy. They kill good people. Christians and Jews. Right? October 7th is the equivalent of September 11th, guys. This is war. That's what I mean. So when people are saying America first, guys, this is America first. Because I don't want another America, city, state, anything on this list. I do not want one more Islamic Jihad attack to ever happen to anyone in the world. Because you got to think ahead. How am I, as Elohim, going to feel comfortable sending out Judianity out to the world for pilgrimage trips? I don't feel safe with anybody doing that, which is why I said don't do that. Don't go into the Congo because everyone there mostly wants to kill you, or the ones that you're there to help, they can't be helped right now because they are under wicked and tyrannical regimes and they're defenseless. A part of my word, you should also know, is I protect the widow, I protect the fatherless, and also we take care of the widow, we protect women and children, and we protect the sovereignty of human life. Now, we don't need to police the world, but what we can do is we can take our beautiful American military and we can extend air superiority and destroy the head of the snake. Israel can flank to the right and to the left with us, and then guess what? We're not only doing ourselves a favor because we want our citizens to go out into the world safely, we want our countries to be safe, but we also want the rest of the world to not only wake up and smell the roses, but we want them to get normal. France is not normal. Most of Europe is not normal. It's infiltrated, as you see on the list, guys. France is all over this list. Why? France's morals and ethics have gone way down. Their acceptance of Jihad Muslim has went way up. The same thing with London. And then guess what happens? You see the pattern. The pattern is as soon as these Islamic Muslims move in, they set up mosques, and then within about 10 years later, the attacks start. That's not a coincidence. They put in the soft image first. They put in the cute little Middle Eastern lady with the little Habib and then the cute little children, and oh, we're peaceful, we worship Allah. And then what happens? Then you turn your eye away. They're like, oh, they're just peaceful Muslims worshiping. Oh shit, 2 miles away, now we've just had a car bombing. What's up with that? And nobody's going back to the source going, you know, this shit didn't happen before we had mosques everywhere. Why is it when the mosque is put up, the killing begins? It's called sadistic infiltration. Their plan, and they're very open with their plan, which is what I mean. I can sit here and tell Christians and Jews at the same breath the truth, and then they will find every other excuse in the world to align themselves with an untruth. This goes back to yesterday's video, parental lies. You guys will believe so many things that are untrue, hoping for that, but yet you refuse the truth. Because the truth isn't as pretty. The truth isn't as fun, right? It's not as fun as saying, Jesus is coming down, we're going to put fingers in his hole, he's taking us to Disney World, he's going to sit under a tree and pet a lamb. No. And I'm not Jesus. But, Sri Lanka. Here's another one. Oh, this was bad. 269 people dead, 500 plus injured. Sri Lanka, April 21st, 2000 and, what year is this? I want to make sure I get that right. Oh, 2019. This was just 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. 2019 Sri Lanka Easter bombings on Easter Sunday. 3 churches across the country and 3 luxury hotels in Colombo were bombed. Later that day, there were similar or smaller explosions at a housing complex and a guest house. Authorities confirmed that the bombers were Sri Lankan citizens associated with National Tawhid Jamaat, a local militant radical Islamic group. And again, 269 dead, and then 8 of the militants were suicide bombers. More France, more Philippines, more Afghanistan, more United Kingdom. Here's another one, United Kingdom, November 29th. The London Bridge stabbing. Convicted Islamic terrorist Usman Khan stabbed members of the public on London Bridge before being wrestled to the floor by pedestrians and then shot dead by police. Niger, Afghanistan. Gosh, these numbers, 100 plus. Somalia, 60 plus, 150 plus, 100 plus, 130, 150, 600. Wow, what is this one? Burkina Faso, August 25th. Al-Qaeda. Militants attack civilians and soldiers, digging defensive trenches around security outposts, killing 600 people and injuring 300 others. Nigeria. Militants attacked the village of Yobe State, killing at least 130 villagers accused of collaborating with Nigerian military. Another one in the United States. This was just 2025, guys. New Orleans truck attacked. Shamsuddin Bahar Jabbar, age 42, intentionally drove a pickup truck into a crowd on New Year's Day. Revelers on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, French Quarter, early in the day, killing at least 14 people. and injuring 57 others and 2 police officers before being killed in a shootout with police. The rear bumper of the truck held a black ISIS flag, and the driver was found to have posted videos on social media pledging his support for the Islamic State group. So sad. More in Syria, more in India, more in Pakistan. So, and there is no end. There is no total, because most of these numbers, that's what I mean. These are just numbers that have been recorded by municipalities, governances that have a form of government. Imagine the amount of tyranny that's happening in the back countries of so many places on earth that they don't get media attention. They don't get any of this. And what breaks my heart is I have human beings on this planet that mostly want to do good. They just, again, they want to live a good life. They want to go to heaven. That's not a hard concept, guys. We can't allow people to commit jihad murder, and we can't allow them in our governments. We cannot allow moral decay to continue in America or in Israel. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry that if I'm hurting your feelings by some of the words I use. But the fact is, there is a right way and there is a wrong way. And I point out both to you. Right? Your free will, you can choose to walk the wrong path. And that's what I mean, is so often nowadays the world is so superficial that they are looking for, like, humans would associate, like, color. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have tones of, like, red or black or blue. I'm saying, like, it is just what it is. I'm saying they would consider that stuff evil and wicked, but yet they will speak not about wicked and evil jihad. Like, what's wrong with you? How are you trying to pin evil and wicked on an antichrist, which in reality, whenever I think of the antichrist and I think of the biblical truth, who is, like, from heaven, the antichrist is actually not a real person, because it's Jesus. It's the false version of me that everybody has fallen in love with. That's what it is. That's truth. That's 100% truth. Because I told you I would never make someone to be innately evil so I then could carry out a like a sick God fantasy that I get to, like, triumph over this one person. Like, that's not how it goes. You know, the false prophet's obviously Muhammad. You know, he's not a prophet of any type, shape, or form. But truly, right, the Antichrist is the false image, and they make false images and they worship them. You know, you have the resemblance of Yeshua on a cross being crucified, and then you preach about blood and sacrifice. And guys, that's very primitive. That's very archaic, just like the Islamic Jihad. I don't want my Judianities ever to be in an archaic death cult. Right? You guys are supposed to be the envy of the world. And you have differences. You know, obviously, Christianity and Judaism have differences. But you know what? You're still one family, because you have me that brings you together. You're Elohim. And again, I do not go by Jesus, and I do not go by Jehovah. So you're both wrong. I am Yahweh Elohim. I am Yahuwah in the flesh. Right? Joshua. That's what I'm trying to say. With that should be enough. And I want my people to obey the commandments, right, and help me clean up the earth. We gotta run out wicked and evil infiltrators. And guess what? This is the last generation that this stuff is going to stand. As I said, every baby me and Asherah are giving out to the world, right? These babies are going to be born with righteousness and innate goodness. And, I mean, that's a very, very real thing, you know? And it's really cool to be able to give babies at will. You know, a lot of people in my close circle, you know, may have doubted that until, like I'm saying, literally Asherah, you know, was talking to a family member and is like, hey, you know, we're gonna bless you with a baby. Person was like, okay. And then guess what happens? Bam! Like, just, like, I think it was like a month later, like, was like, okay, I'm pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, this happens. It's pretty cool. And then again, right, these children, they're going to grow up with good parents. They're going to grow up with good morals, good ethical behavior, outstanding character, working purposes for the kingdom / the earth kingdom, because when you're finding something dualistic, like I've made it a point, right, to point out examples whom Asher and I, and our limited ability to go out in the public, we do like to point out people that are exemplary, you know, and I've mentioned, you know, several of the HDTV people, and we do that because I want you to see that, you know, humans are humans, and you may make a mistake, and that's okay. You're never going to be damned for making a mistake. You're never going to be damned for making a mistake. You know, it's the realization of that mistake. It's being able to take that talking to and saying, all right, you know, this is, I kind of screwed up. I need help, or I need to be more aware of avoiding these problems. Of, you know, that's what I mean. If you're leaning into degraded music, don't do that. If you're leaning into violent, don't do that. If we're supporting violent music, if we're supporting LGBTQ, then you are supporting our adversaries. Don't do that. Right? Guys, alright, I'm going to run through my notes. I did not realize I'm almost at 2 hours. But I think it was a good talk. It was needed. Let me know what this is. I really hope Trump isn't losing his mind. I don't know what Nicki Minaj is doing on the television right now, but this is what happens. I feel like every time I, as father, turn my head, some bullshit's happening. I feel like some bullshit's happening right now. So, so again, the afflicting terror party, the Islamic State, Jihad, Muslims, right? They are a deadly group of people, and they are directly responsible for the last 47 years of the worst terror the world has ever seen. And officially, not officially, around 210,138 victims have been at least reportedly killed, but estimates that there are more than over 500,000 innocent civilians, women and children included, that have been murdered on behalf of that Quran. That's so terrible. And the world is still in talks with these murderers, right? Still accepts this radical and deadly demonic cult. Every country with these demons desire them out. Even normal religious Muslims want the bastards out. That's what I mean, is I don't feel that people that are actively in the Muslim faith, because of a person of faith other than Judianity, I guarantee you, I know this, I'm God, I can tell you this for a fact, they will self-convert to Judianity and out of Muslimhood, but guess what? Nurture, right? If they're raised in that environment. That's like in America, right? If you're raised in a Christian household, more than likely you're going to become a Christian. That's okay. Or if you're a Jew, right? In this case, as God, I'm combining you both, right? I'm squishing you both into one pill so I can swallow you and freaking get this under control. Saying they will self-convert, because if they do an internal look at their own religion and I'm saying they're brought out of it, they're going to quickly identify and go, that's actually not what I want to do. I don't want to be a Muslim. I have no affiliation as a human being to Muslims. Like, that's what I mean. It's not based on race, not based on none of that. You're a human being. You have 2 eyeballs, a nose, a mouth, ears. Imagine how beautiful you are as a person, because you were created with purpose, with thought in mind. Everything in the creation is created with purpose and thought in mind. Right? It means you are a unique, special person. Just because you were raised in a bad life doesn't mean you got to be a bad person. Just because you were raised in a demon religion doesn't mean you got to stay in it. Just because you were taught to hate Jews as a Christian doesn't mean you have to. Just because you were taught to hate Christians as a Jew doesn't mean you have to. Just because you were taught that some parts of the Bible have certain prophecies that I will never fulfill doesn't mean you have to sit on the sidelines and wait and wait and wait to uphold somehow your false integrity. You have God on earth now, in whatever shape or form you can understand that. I'm willing and actively working in the earth plane every single day, and it is almost my lunchtime. So, if a person of faith other than Judianity, comes to the truth, they will convert on their own. There is no need for pushing or convincing. Those on my side will entice them into righteousness and truth, and the rest is up to my spirit to guide them, and that's true. So that is what the plan is for those folks, because there are victims on different sides of this equation, but we need to make sure that we are going to take down the jihads once and for all. We're not only going to make a stand, but this is going to stop. This is going to stop. And Christians, don't let the bad kids, right, the Demoncrats, convince you that you are the problem, right? You are not. Your problem is with your doctrine and names, right? And your problem is allowing the fearless truth to be heard, which is I. But I'm saying, as far as, you're keeping your moral high ground, telling them like it is, and then, yeah, you do hide behind that shield of righteousness, because that's how we do this, right? If they are going against universal law, human law, natural law, my law, and again, when I say law, I mean 10 Commandments and righteousness. The food laws and those things originally, right, they were to carefully separate out my Israelites. And in a perfect world, I as God, whenever I return, I can look at a people and go, my precious ones. And then they should instantly go, our Father, who was in heaven, who art here on earth. We're glad you're back. We're glad you're here. Come visit our feast. Here's a latke. Here's a glass of wine. I don't drink anymore, so grape juice. I'm saying, that's the purpose of it. That obviously isn't happening. People do religion for religion's sake, and it's like, that's so silly. Like, it makes me mad, right? Because it's like, I was like, alrighty. At 2 hours, my last note here is, meditate. What does the loony left want? Based on their actions, their behaviors, what do they want? What do they align with? Rebellion, lawlessness, and any and all attempts to defile my creation and the humans on it. To a liberal, to a Democrat, if they can lead a good person astray into believing their bullshit, they've won the day. You know what? Instead of me using the death angel just to go, I'm going to just take out everybody of this political party, that would be unrighteous and unjust on my part. You have to sift through these things. You truly do. You have to sift through these things and take the next right step. Alright, we are at a 11:45. I am getting hungry. Hopefully Asher is off her meeting soon so I can make my wrap. And then we will see everyone back here tomorrow. Same time. So, alright guys, stay blessed. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.